Hello, hello. Here we go into game 64 on our climb to Legend, which we are actually getting towards the top now. At rank 3, Diamond, just a couple ranks away. I'm kind of surprised. It seems like after the changes we made to make the deck a bit more slow with the board wipes, poison seeds, and spreading plague, namely, it seems like the deck has done a lot better. Here we are up against a demon hunter. So just going to want to anti-aggro cards. Zephyrus and Reno are perfect for that. Reno's a bit iffy just because you don't play him till turn 6 and you really want answers for their early snowball minions. However, especially when we have Zephyrus in hand to deal with any snowballing issues, you want to keep Reno. He's really good against all aggro decks. He's the original Singleton Matters card. Sure enough, there's the Baku hero power. Our opponent is Odd Demon Hunter. So many Odd Demon Hunters. I can't even remember the last time we didn't see that Baku hero power since this new season started. There is a Lowly Squire and Coin hero power. Interesting. Got a couple options this next turn. We could Zephyrus Backstab. We could Crystal Merchant. We could Spellstone. Decide to go with the Spellstone. We want to save Zephyrus for tougher situations. The Crystal Merchant dies too easily to hero power and attack from the Lowly Squire without accomplishing anything. It wouldn't draw. It would just deal 1 damage. Just going to use the Spellstone. You could have also considered hero powering and then the following turn finishing it off with another hero power and then spellstoning something else, but if they had something else, they would have played it instead of hero powering the previous turn, so we just used our spellstone. This turn, we're going to just play Crystal Merchant Cycle. The 1/4 is really good against the 2/1, and we get a draw card. Glacial Shard. Freezing the Merchant, which is interesting. So I guess they're not going to trade into it. They're just going to leave it up. Not worried about us drawing cards. So I'll just play... the Alkalite Pain is a great draw. We can just play that. Draw another card from the Crystal Merchant. We have a 1/3 and a 1/4 contesting their 2/2/1s. Henge Clan Thug. Okay, that's their first real threat since that turn 1 Squire. They finally removed the Merchant. A little late, but we'll take it. Do want to remove that Henge Clan Thug. The question is how. We're going to draw first with the Alkalite of Pain, see if we can get anything. That really makes me want to use the Mulch because it fills out our curve. Mulch plus Druid of the Swarm, that is. Zephyrus, we always want to save it unless we absolutely need it or it's incredibly good in a spot. Lotheb, we don't ever want to leave up a Henge Clan Thug when they're going into turn 5, because then they can Warglaives, superpower the Thug, and just do way too much. So yeah, we're just going to go with the Mulch. And the 1/5 Taunt. I'm not going to do Poisonous because the hero power counters it too easily from the Demon Hunter. Overseer, I-Beam, and I'm just guessing hero power. That's fine. We have Lotheb Living Roots. Living Roots deals with the Seer, and Lotheb is just a 5/5 pretty much for next turn. They have a Lotheb of their own. It's actually pretty good, Lotheb. Our hand is kind of spell heavy, and Zephyrus likes to give spells. So, could be a rough turn coming up. But we draw Oasis Surger. Consider Oasis Surger, and then it would just be Hero Power, or maybe Zephyrus to give us an 8-drop. But I think I want to just trade in the Lotheb. I mean, I might just play Reno. It's only 12 health, but they don't have much of a board. We get a 4/6. It is still 12 health, which is pretty good. And we have a Ferocious Howl and Branching Paths in hand, so it's not like health is going to be an issue this game. Mostly just tempo, and I'd rather save the Oasis Surger for next turn when I can play it with Tar Creeper or Ferocious Howl. So yeah, I think we're just going to play Reno, thinking that next turn it'll be Tar Creeper plus the Surger. And even here, look at that, like 12 health with a 4/6 for 6 is just still so good. Version Shadow Weaver. Looks like our opponent's deck is teched heavily against Demon Hunter with all these freeze effects. I think the Oasis Surger does a lot against that board. Can make 2 copies, one to go into the 4/3 and another one to go into the Lily Squire. And then the Tar Creeper protects our 3/1 that's left over really well. It's funny, we usually have to like use Zephyrus to save us from huge boards from the Demon Hunter, but this game we just kind of won the board against them. Priestess of Fury is okay, that's a threat. We do have Poison Seeds and Zephyrus, however, so the question will be just how do we want to deal with it? I'm thinking I want to save Zephyrus for turn 10 when I can play it and Natalie Celine on the same turn. So I'm thinking we're going to be doing Poison Seeds. That'll leave us with 5 mana. It'll probably be Steladris and Howl. So since I'm playing Howl, I decide to cycle first to see what we can draw, in case it changes our plan. And it does. We draw Wrath, and the Wrath plus the Reno trades into the Priestess of Fury so well, we can even Steladris alongside the Wrath to get 2 copies. Great top decks there. And we're just going to Hero Power. We have 6 cards in hand. We're at 31 health, and we have a 2/3 on board. Our opponent has 4 cards in hand, 23 health, and no board. Looks like we're pretty far ahead, and we're the slower deck, so this should just be game. If they have a Priestess right here, then maybe they have a chance. Something you do notice is usually the higher in ranks you climb, the more your opponents will not concede until it's like very, very obvious they're dead, like lethal's on board obvious. And it's just because there's actually quite a few times where it looks like you're losing where you do get a win. And so that if you are trying to climb ranks and you're an aggro deck, that is the way to play. You never want to concede until the very end, because oftentimes slow control decks, even if they win, they can make misplays and lose the board somehow, and then you can steal a win. It happens quite a bit. So it's definitely right for our opponents to be playing out longer. It's just a bit annoying. Because I don't think we're going to be making that huge of misplays, so we pretty much just have this game won. They do have a Priestess, so I guess that's another reason to not give up. That's a way to win still. But they don't know that we have Zephyrus and Poison Seeds. I decided I think we're just going to do Poison Seeds, Kartut Defender. Kartut Defender, we want to play it first before the Poison Seeds, so that way it dies. And what this does is it assures that there will be 2 dead copies for Enzoth. If we had played it after the Poison Seeds, our opponent could consume magic it, and then we only have 1 that will die for the Enzoth. Also, we guarantee 3 health gain. Sure enough, there's Consume Magic. But our opponent, they really don't have anything left. They have a Baku, I guess. And then just some small stuff. Just probably going to play Enzoth. Bring us 2 Kartut defenders, thanks to us playing the first one before Poison Seeds. Poe's not giving up. And you will see this quite a bit the higher you go on the ladder. See Baku Moon Eater. I think we're just going to do Zephyrus, Natali, Celine. I look at the Pyroblast, wanting to see if we have lethal, but we can't play it this turn, so just going to play Natali, Celine. And now that we have literally lethal facing down our opponent, I think they finally concede here. Maybe, maybe they were also wanting just to see our deck because it's not every day you see a Reno Druid. So perhaps they were just playing out the game longer to see what cards we run. But seeing the concede there at the end tells me, no, he still thought he might be able to squeak out a win. But that was a pretty easy game for us. We never really had to play our Zephyrus even. That's how ahead we were. Here we go into game 65. Up against a Mage. Want a mulligan as if it is Secret Mage. Definitely keep Crystal Merchant. It's a good early game minion. Consider keeping the Howl. It's kind of nice against Secret Mage, but it's not that great either. You more want to draw a Howl later during the game and not early on. Early on it's okay if you have Spellstone, but without Spellstone, it doesn't do much against the board, and that's what we care about most. Health is not really an issue for this deck against the Burn Mage, or Secret Mage. Consider coining out a 2-drop, but we still don't know what we're up against. And if it is Secret Mage, having the coin is actually quite nice for triggering Counterspell. Sure enough, there's Arcanologist. It is looking like Secret Mage. I think we're definitely going to play the Druid of the Swarm. We could coin out a 3, but we want to save that coin, as I talked about earlier, just to trigger Counterspell. I go for Druid of the Swarm. I go for the Poison mode. Looking back, I think it would have been better to do the Taunt. It would have saved us 2 health, and it does trade into the 2-3. I was for some reason thinking the 1-5 doesn't trade into the 2-3, but it does. The only way they save their 2-3 in that exchange is if they use their hero power, and if they're doing that and not playing secrets or minions, we're pretty happy. Now this is strange. I was expecting explosive runes, which is why we played the Alkaloid of Pain, but we actually see duplicate, which is usually not what the Mage usually does not want to duplicate the Arcanologist. So they have a handful of spells, but secrets, but that's not our worry. The main way we lose if they duplicate their tempo cards like Crystal Runner or Medivh's Valet. So we just bumped there to see what we draw, if we have any better plays. I'm thinking of coining Sludge Belcher. It would be good against the board, but once again, I just want to save that coin to deal with secrets like Counterspell, and they do have a lot of secrets in their hand, so I decided just to play Crystal Merchant, and I believe pass. The other play was Spellbreaker, and that would have not been bad. I considered playing out the Steladris for stats, but I'd rather draw off of the Merchant. I think Spellbreaker was a slightly better play that turn, but this was still okay. Just getting more stats out, I think, was probably our higher priority. But the merchant's okay. Our opponent doesn't do much, just ping and plays a secret. And so at this point, I'm thinking something is kind of strange. Like, why did they duplicate the Arcanologist? How come they're not playing that much? They just played a secret and pinged on turn 5 with that full of a hand? Like, not even any ways to reduce the cost of their secret minions, like the Lackey or the 3-mana 4/3. And so I'm starting to think maybe this is something else. Like, maybe they just have a heavy secret package and it's like some other combo deck or something. We played the Sludge Belcher thinking it'd be okay against explosive runes, and there wasn't even an explosive runes. And then this turn is just wacky. The hero power and secret again. So something is very odd. I test for Flame Ward. No Flame Ward. It's looking like it. I'm thinking it's probably a combo deck, or maybe it's just the worst draw a Secret Mage has ever gotten in the history of Secret Mage. I'm not really sure what to play this turn. I think we go with the Spreading Plague. I do want to dump cards for Elise. I'm gearing up for needing to duplicate anti-combo cards, such as Dirty Rat or Loatheb. I don't really want to cycle with the Branching Paths quite yet, because they might still have quite a bit of burn. It could just be Secret Mage with a really bad draw. I was thinking playing the Spellbreaker. It's more stats than Spreading Plague, and Spreading Plague can be good against an explosive turn from the Secret Mage. But then I just float 2 mana, so I decided to just go with the Spreading Plague. We see Netherwind Portal into Altruis, which is just devastating, because I'm still thinking maybe it's Secret Mage, maybe they're just going to dump all their hand at once, and if they do that with the Altruis out, they can just clear our board and do tons of damage. So I'm pretty scared here. I don't even have Reno. But then we see Mass Contender, and I know that we're up against something different. I'm thinking, when I see Mass Contender in the secrets, I wasn't thinking Reno because of the multiple Arcanologists, but then I remember there was multiple Arcanologists because of duplicate. In fact, they've only played 1. So now I am thinking maybe Reno. Reno Secret Mage. It used to be a popular deck not too long ago, so I could see someone still trying to make it work. Apex a Smuggler. The other option is maybe they're just doing like a slow control secret style deck. But there's Zephyrus, so it is in fact Reno. I'm not sure why they play Zephyrus here. Maybe they're just looking for Tyrion for the next turn. And they skip Power Word Shield on the Altruis, which is just so pointless, I think. Like, we have a full grip, we're a Druid. Of course we're going to be trying to remove their board this next turn. I guess they don't know we're Reno yet, so maybe they don't know we have actual good board clears. Still, I would have think he would have tried to pick something a bit better than Power Word Shield off the Zephyrus. So now it is our turn. I decided to go for Zephyrus, thinking maybe he'll give us Shadow Flame. It wouldn't remove all their board, but it removes the key parts. We don't want Altruis or the Smuggler to last. We know there's not Counterspell up because we played the Spreading Plague on the previous turn. And really, I just want to remove the Smuggler and Altruis this turn. It'd be nice to remove Zephyrus too in case they run Zola. So that's what we're going to do. And he offers us Chaos Nova. I forgot about this card. This is part of the either basic or classic set. I think basic set. So something to keep in mind. If you need to deal 4 damage with 7 mana and Zephyrus, Chaos Nova is something he offers. And so that clears the entire board. We're sitting here at 21. Not too bad. Some more secrets, and Lorewalker Cho. Luckily, we did save the Spellbreaker. That kind of worked out for us, so we can just play that on the Cho. And coin. Oh, I see. I coined to trigger the counter spell because they did play a spell they've been holding for a while. I think they were holding it, waiting for us to play the coin. It was kind of telegraphed. So we're just going to do, yes, Steladris and Rising Winds to get the extra copies of the spells in our hand. If the Steladris survives, we have Wrath and the second half of Rising Winds as well to get value off of him. First, we want to try to win the board, and once we've won the board, then we want to draw into Reno and probably just duplicate Reno, because I'm thinking they're probably still an aggressive variant. Looking back, I think that was not quite the best mindset. I think we should have realized they were more mid-range to control just with the cards they play, and so maybe we should be looking to go for the long game instead. They low-theb, which would almost shut us out of a turn, but we top deck Malfurion, which is such a great top deck under low-theb. If we had not top decked the Malfurion, that turn would have been quite awkward. So we see an Effigy, give him a 4/7. I guess we should have attacked the Cho first, but I think that we're still fine. I guess the fear here is if they do like Reno, the Melancologist, although we have too much health for that. More likely would be Flak Mage plus a bunch of secrets, could be quite devastating. They just play Cloud Prince and Kazakus though. They did remove our Steladris, unfortunately. But we draw Fendrel. Fendrel's a great draw. We can do Fendrel Wrath on the Cloud Prince to remove it and cycle. At first I was wanting to play the second Rising Winds as well to get the value from the Fendrel. But I look at the board and I realize if we can just buff the attack of our minions with the branching paths, we can do some really nice trades. Otherwise, they contest our board quite well. And with a Kazakus potion coming up, I think I just want to clear off as much as I can. There is the option of the spell that boosts the health of all their minions, which is very likely that he picked that. So we want to clear them off if possible. But they got that potion, transforming all our minions into sheep and adding some demons. Not sure why they played it there. We didn't have much on the board to transform. Testing for the Flame Ward. No Flame Ward. Just gonna cycle with the swoop in. I didn't really have a big plan for this turn other than to start dumping cards for Elise. So that's exactly what we do. I consider whether I want to Hero Power or Take Flight. I decided to Take Flight because we're going to eventually need to play it if we're going to do it Elise. And we don't have to worry about health because we have Reno in our hand. They play a secret. Now I'm thinking that's got to be Flame Ward. And then they ping the Mishfin, and so that looks even more like Flame Ward. But then they play minions, which I don't know why they do this. They played 2 minions, so it's going to be so easy for us to trade off our minions before triggering the Flame Ward, which is exactly what we do. Just clear the board, test for the Flame Ward. There it is. Not sure why they played the minions with the Flame Ward. So looking at our turn, I consider Elasing now. And I think it's good. I think we want to play Lotheb and Elise so that she duplicates the Floop all the way on the far right. If we had not played the Lotheb first, she wouldn't have made it all the way to the Floop in her duplication process. So at this point, I'm still thinking there's somewhat of an aggressive variant. They're not going to have too much value, so I'm not worried about going infinite with like Elise Zola. If I was trying to go infinite, I might have waited on the Elise a little bit, but then that turn would have been quite awkward. Not much I would have wanted to play. Here we see Alex Straza. About average results for the dragons. They play Shadowhoof Slayer, and I'm so confused on where that came from. How did they get the Shadowhoof Slayer? And looking back, I still don't understand. It doesn't say what it was created by. It's just, they just play it. So we're just going to mulch up their big minions. And make some trades. And then I think to round out the turn, we'll just coin a Reno. 11 health is still good enough, and we have a backup one in our hand. Plus, of course, 2 Floops, 2 Zolas. And so, our opponent has not conceded yet, even though they've seen us with the Elise. So maybe they do have some value in their deck. They have played the Dragon Queen Alexstrasza. They have been playing kind of slow. So, okay, this is also interesting on this turn. They play Reno the Rail and Colleges. Later this game, I think he hasn't played it. I guess I forget about this turn right here. Anyways, we just played the Enzoth. Not much else to play here. It's not too big of an Enzoth, but we have many Enzoths to follow it up with. See, like, these 2 minions they play here both say created by Mulch, so I still don't know where that Shadowhoof Slayer came from. Secret's a bit scary. I'm starting to wonder, what if they run Frozen Clone? Do I really want to give them Enzoth? And I decide it's fine if they get Enzoth. The only Death Rattle minions they have is the Prime, I believe, and like Mad Scientist. They also had the dragon that gives coin, but I forgot about that when I was making my evaluation. Even if I had remembered that, I think it would still be fine to give them 2 Enzoths. We just have way more Enzoths than them. So I decided just to play it. No Frozen Clone. I'm just going to Zola up here. I think we want to get our second Zola on Enzoth as well. But I armor up. Alright, I couldn't make any more attacks. Okay. I think that was good. If I could have traded off one more board spot, I would have liked to have played the other Zola there. Yeah, I'm a little surprised our opponent hasn't conceded at this point. They must know we have a lot of Enzoths in our hand from the Elise and us Zolaing one as well. And it looks like in Fatigue we're way ahead on that count too. They can't have too much value in that deck because they have so many spots to put in secrets. All that secret synergy, and then the Reno cards doesn't leave much room for extra value. They play Broodmother. I don't know where that comes from either. It doesn't say what it was created by. There's just random cards in our opponent's deck. I don't know how they got there. So I think this turn we definitely want to trade off the board. I think it's also a good turn to just Zola up a bunch of Enzoths using Floop as Zolas. Oh, okay. This was also alright. I decided to clear off almost all of our boards so we can just play Enzoth and get lots of stuff resurrected. This is alright too. It just puts out tons of stats. The amazing Reno, okay. But we have 3 more Enzoths. So we're not worried. I'm not worried about amazing Reno carrying them or anything. He's more likely to just draw them cards and bring them further into Fatigue. Yogg Saron. Very interesting deck from our opponent. Let's see what Yogg can do. He's going to have to do a lot. I didn't see what he copied with the priest spell. I think he copied a Mishfin. Because later in this game, my opponent plays a Mishfin, and it's once again, I didn't see what it was created by, and so I thought it was just another of those weird cards that somehow got into his deck. But I think looking back, this is where he copied one of our Mishfins. He also plays a secret. Convert. Convert is the priest card for 2 mana that copies a random minion when cast with Yogg. That's on the board. This is a good time to Zola Enzoth, testing the secret at the same time. If in case it's duplicate, I think we want to give them the 11 mana giant. They don't have any ways to really overload crystals easily. I think we should have traded into the giant first, but there is no duplicate, no effigy. I considered Flame Ward as a punish if I attack here, but I decided I'm just so far ahead. Let's just start clocking them. It looks like it was Vaporize. Actually, it looks like Vaporize was just in their deck. I don't think that was the one Yogg made. Huh. I'm just going to play Dark Reaper out. So we have a way bigger deck than our opponent. They're going to be fatiguing a ton. We have 2 Enzoths in hand, and we have tons of Mishfin Primes and a Reno. I really don't see any way our opponent can come back from this, but they're going to play it out till the end. I guess there's a chance with Reno always that he just does something crazy. And Solarium Prime could do something, perhaps. Not too much, just a couple secrets and making another 7/7. I'm thinking, we want to test for secrets first, like duplicate. No duplicate. There could be Frozen Clone. But once again, I'm not worried if we give them Enzoth. Let's just make a huge board with our own Enzoth. There is Frozen Clone. Okay, so this game's going to go a little bit longer, but we should still have this. We have so many Mishfin Primes at this point. We never got our Kartoot dead, so all that there was to summon was Sludge Belcher and Archboar Mishfin. Yeah, see, there's Archboar Mishfin. I'm just confused at it once again. It's just another card that doesn't say what it was created by that our opponent plays, but now I know. It came from the convert from Enzoth. I still don't know where the Shadowhoof Slayer and the Eldrani Demon, the 4/6 with Taunt, came from, the Warlock card. The Mulch cards were different cards, so yeah, I just don't know how those cards were played. Oh yeah, I want to dirty out one of their Enzoths, so we just have a little bit less to slog through. What was I doing there? I guess I was also thinking I would just do Mishfin if possibly, because we can maybe push lethal. They don't have any taunts to bring back with their Enzoth, but after the evasion I decide, well, we can't really push for lethal, so let's just go with the original plan, dirty ret out the Enzoth, and of course trade off against it so they can't Zola it, they can't duplicate it with the amazing Reno. So since they have their own Prime, and now our Prime as well in their Death Rattle pool with the Enzoth, there is a chance for them to make this game more close in the long term. They can slow down their fatigue counter. If they can Zola their Enzoth, we're in quite a bit of trouble. I do make a misplay here. We definitely play Mishfin and one with Rush. I just send the Rush into the 3/4 when I really should have sent it into the Enzoth and traded off their 3/4 with like a Sludge and a Slime. Now I have to trade in so much to kill that Enzoth because I already used up our 9/9 Rush. I think we want to kill off the Solarium if we can, so they don't have spell damage. Now I just go face. I guess that's alright. They're probably out of spells pretty much. I don't even think spell damage affects spells cast by the amazing Reno. Yeah, our opponent's pretty much out of gas. And we just have so much value left. I'm looking at this. I'm thinking it's another Enzoth turn. We're just going to clear off our board. Play another Enzoth. It's just the most amount of stats. Hopefully we can push lethal. Our opponent's not giving up, though. Solarium Prime. Just going to shuffle more Mishfins into our deck. Okay, so it looks like the spells cast from the Solarium Prime are affected by spell damage, as we saw from that Wave Blast. There's the Flak Mage, but no secret to go with it, so our board is going to survive and we can just trade off against their board. And now they have 3 cards in their hand. I don't see how they have any chance at this point. Fatigue should just kill them. Gonna coin out a Mishfin Prime. And we are out of Enzoths, but from every turn here on out is probably just Mishfin Prime. And with only 3 cards in hand, I don't think our opponent can do it. So I think they finally concede her. Cool deck from the opponent. But good game.